Hey guys, I'm back with another video in the vein of the educational format I've been doing more of lately, and I've got a guest who's well known for his work in this style.
Hey everyone, it's Kellen from False Swipe Gaming. In our channel, we've been branching out from our usual how good was Pokemon actually format and doing a wider range of videos on a variety of competitive Pokemon topics.
Today we're going to be examining one of Pokemon's greatest disappointments, Electivire. We'll quickly touch on why it's so bad, and then dive into how such an all-around weak Pokemon could be made competitively viable. Of course, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you let me know, leave a like, subscribe for more of this kind of content as I do this 3 to 4 times a month, and subscribe to False Swipe as well.
So let's get into it. How good could Electivire be actually?
Electivire is famously one of Pokemon's greatest disappointments. It seemed like it had all the potential in the world when it evolved from Electivuzz with the release of Generation 4. And indeed, it did see quite a bit of usage in the early stages of Diamond and Pearl metagame, where it would even be considered quite good. To give you an idea, it was regularly spoken of with the same fearful reverence reserved for the same OU threats wielding tier-defining monstrosities like Stab, Dragon, and Fighting moves. It formed what quickly became one of the most famous duos in Pokemon history, being one half of the Gyrovire combo, specifically the half that would switch in on Thunderbolts aimed at Gyarados with the intent of stopping it from sweeping as it otherwise would. Theoretically, once Electivire switched into that Thunderbolt and obtained that Motor Drive speed boost, it would be in a prime position to rip through the opposing team, now faster than the likes of threats such as Gengar, Garchomp, and Infernape.
Theoretically anyway, though a speed boosted Electivire ripping through teams was a common sight in early Diamond and Pearl, it didn't last, and the Gyrovire combo went from famous to infamous quite quickly. It became the telltale sign of a noob, a scrub, an inexperienced player who didn't know better. Why though? It wasn't just because the Gyrovire combo was predictable. It was, but it didn't really make a difference. Because what were you gonna do? Not Thunderbolt that Dragon Dance boosted Gyarados? That would probably sweep you if you didn't? No, the problem was that Electivire was quite often not that threatening even with the speed boost. Despite its great attack stat, the combination of Thunder Punch and Ice Punch just didn't hit hard at all because of the move's paltry base power. It was riddled with other issues too. Frailty, poor defensive typing, and despite its reputation as famously hitting things super effectively, still lacking all the coverage it wanted for threats like Swampert and Bronzong. And that was before Platinum came out. Once the Rotom appliances arrived, completely walling Electivire no matter what it did, that's when Electivire went from a bit down on its luck to the laughingstock of OU. It was never able to recover even in subsequent generations. Despite getting Wild Charge as an improved stab in Gen 5, its Ice Punch coverage was just too weak. Here's how pathetic Ice Punch is. A life-orbed Ice Punch can't even OHKO tank Garchomp. Even with Stealth Rock, it's only got a 12.5% chance. And even Wild Charge isn't exactly amazing, given that it's a recoil move that only has a base power of 90. Plus, Electivire without a Motor Drive boost is quite slow and easy to smack around, given its lousy defenses and limited resistances. So today we're taking on the task of making Electivire actually good, without making it comically broken, of course, because that'd be all too easy, as hilarious as it would be to see a super busted Mega Electivire tearing up anything goes.
The first step in fixing Electivire is fixing its power issue. That is to give it actually spammable offensive attacks that let it attack using its great attack stat. If it doesn't have high base power on its most commonly used attacks, an example, the physical Bolt Beam combination that hits so much super effectively and thus forms the crux of its theoretical offensive potential, it's not only going to be much easier to pivot around, it's also going to struggle even against lots of things it hits super effectively. Even a Life Orb boosted Wild Charge isn't threatening to KO things like Suicune and Skarmory, even with significant chip damage such as several rounds of Stealth Rock. And that's just unacceptable, to say nothing of the weakness of unstabbed Ice Punch. Plus, Electivire needs a powerful stab move just in general to hit neutral targets with, because that is important no matter how good your super effective coverage is, especially in the newer gens with fairy types. Do you really want to try and fit Iron Tail into Electivire's already incredibly cramped moveset? No, you don't. You want to slam them with your electric stab that also should be threatening as much of the other team as possible. So the first thing we do is give Electivire not one, but 2 new physical electric stabs, Plasma Fist and Volt Tackle. Plasma Fist's 10 base power upgrade over Wild Charge is already a significant upgrade, and it doesn't come with recoil. Whereas Volt Tackle maintains the recoil, but can make it worthwhile through its huge base power of 120. Both of these have fair trade-offs, while still being good enough to actually spam. Design-wise, it's bizarre that Electivire doesn't have these two moves already.
Next, instead of Ice Punch, we'll give Electivire Icicle Crash, which possesses another nice 10 base power upgrade. And now Electivire can actually threaten tough walls like Hippowdon and Tangrowth, the latter without needing to use Flamethrower. It's not too strong, but it's in that sweet spot where it gives Evire something genuine to work with, as opposed to the absolute pittance that is Ice Punch's so-called super effective damage. Icicle Crash's nice flinch rate can also help out as a general wall breaking tool. It's likely that over the course of a game, battered teams would just barely be hanging on against Evire and Friends' assault, and this could help it push past tougher walls hanging around at low health. Design-wise, this one's a bit of a stretch, until you remember that Pikachu gets Icicle Crash and then you realize that this isn't even a stretch at all. It's consistency. Matter of fact, one could argue that it would be downright immoral to not give Evire Icicle Crash.
In the spirit of buffs, we'll also bump Electivire's choice of fighting coverage up from Cross Chop to Close Combat. In addition to no longer having to deal with Cross Chop's insufferable accuracy, the 20 base power boost is significant in blasting past something like Ferrothorn. Previously, if Electivire Cross Chop wasn't hitting a target for quadruple effective damage, like Tyranitar, it probably wasn't getting a KO from high health. Now, Close Combat doesn't exactly turn it into an OHKOing machine, but it is much more capable in this regard, and without being too good. This also removes some need for Earthquake's somewhat redundant coverage alongside it. Now, Electivire can close combat things like Heatran and Magnezone for KOs it probably wouldn't have achieved with Cross Chop, and thus doesn't need to waste a slot on EQ. Instead, Electivire can slot in Flamethrower to hit things like Scizor, or it could gain another new move, which is far more widely useful. That's right, for our final Electivire moveset buff, we're giving it Knockoff. This fits perfectly with the theme of giving it actual good moves without being broken. Knockoff brings more useful, super effective coverage options that Electivire was previously lacking against things like Ghosts and Psychics. But it also adds the amazing item removal effect that acts both as general utility for its team and a way of elevating Electivire's own wall breaking. Getting rid of a frustrating wall's leftovers or Rocky Helmet is going to make Electivire even more of a pain to deal with, as well as its teammates.
Now we've already taken a significant step forward in buffing Evire's move pool. This means that if it gets on the field, it can do what it's supposed to do. Previously, it was an offensive threat that wasn't offensively threatening and struggled to dish out the damage you expect on a Pokemon with its coverage and attack stat. Now it smacks pretty much anything in the game quite hard. It can run a number of viable items to further assist itself in this too. Expert Belt, Life Orb, Choice Band, feasibly even something like Lum or Shuka Berry. Now Electivire is a threat. However, it needs a bit more than just a threat. It needs to be good right away, not just when it gets a Motor Drive boost, because Team Preview makes that even more of a dice roll to rely on than it already inherently is. Evire needs to have some sort of quality or qualities that distinguish itself from something similarly big and threatening like Kyurem Black. KB is a great example and has superb natural bulk and quite a decent set of resistances with which to work with. It can also take quite a few neutral hits as a wall. This is the opposite of Evire. The electric immunity is valuable, yes, but it crumples even to weaker neutral attacks, and its frailty is such that it doesn't even take resistant moves like Steel and Flying very well at all. Basically, Evire needs a stat buff to make it a more well-rounded Pokemon capable of actually utilizing its offenses. It's a pretty big poke. It makes sense that it have some halfway decent defenses. Its special defense isn't bad, but combined with its low HP, it's not exactly a hit taker. We're not looking to turn it into Blissey or anything, just to bump up that base stat total a little bit. Mega Evolutions get plus 100 to their base stat total, and we're not going to full Mega Evo with Evire. We've already buffed its move pool too, so we'll limit ourselves to a plus 50, which seems more than reasonable. If anything, it might be a bit low, but we'll stick with this.
First, we'll bring its HP up from base 75. The plus 5 boost of 80 is too low, but the plus 10 boost of 85 might be a bit much, so we'll meet around the middle and give it a plus 8 boost to a respectable base 83 HP. We'll round its awkward 67 base defense up to 70, still a far cry from good, but something. Finally, we'll finish its bulk off by bringing its decent base 85 special defense up plus 6 to base 91. Just a tiny bit more than base 90 because Electivire deserves it. So that's a total of plus 24 to Electivire's base stats, with 26 remaining. Next, we definitely have to bring its speed up a little bit. It makes sense that this bigger, bulkier evolution would be slower than the small, quick Electabuzz, but going all the way from Electabuzz's base 105 down to Electivire's base 95 seems a bit much. We'll meet in the middle of the base 10 drop and bring Electivire up by 5, giving it the golden speed stat of base 100. This will be absolutely huge for its opportunities it will be able to get, increasing the number of Pokemon it can outrun and fire off its mighty attacks against.
So we've still got 21 base stat points with which to gift Electivire. We definitely want to give it a bit of an attack boost so that its moves really sting, but with its newfound move pool, all 21 would be more than a bit over the top. It'd be in the realm of Haxorus if that were the case. It's also a bit strange that Electivire shares the same special attack stat as Electabuzz. There's no way it wouldn't be stronger, so we're going to give it a serious charge here. A plus 19 boost from base 95 to base 114. We're also going to take this opportunity to add Grass Knot to Electivire's move pool. Again, because if Pikachu and Thundurus can, then so can Electivire. This means Electivire doesn't just have to be a physical attacker now either. Finally, we're going to give it the choice to run Fire Blast, if it prefers the power over accuracy. Though with a special attack boost, even Flamethrower is really going to be toasting its targets. We'll even throw in Overheat for good measure. Manectric can use it, so why not Electivire? Of course, with this plus 19 boost to special attack, we have plus 2 left for Electivire's attack, which brings it to base 125, the same as Magmortar's base special attack. Why was it not there already? Well, it's fixed now. To cap things off, we'll give Electivire a good alternate ability. No, not the largely useless Vital Spirit. If it doesn't want to Motor Drive, we'll let it run Volt Absorb instead, which is thematically similar and provides Electivire with the potential to snag some much needed recovery with its electric immunity. Longevity is an underrated but incredibly important aspect of wall breaking, and this one could really make something like Zapdos regret clicking its electric stab, whereas it wouldn't really care about giving Electivire a speed boost before.
In conclusion, let's examine our brand new Electivire. It's had the following additions to its move pool: Plasma Fist, Volt Tackle, Icicle Crash, Close Combat, Knockoff, Grass Knot, Fire Blast, and Overheat. Its base stats are now as follows: 83 HP, 125 attack, 70 defense, 114 special attack, 91 special defense, and 100 speed. It has also gained Volt Absorb as an alternative ability.
We think this Electivire would excel in the lower tiers at the very least. If nothing else, it would be nice to see Electivire getting some usage somewhere, and this would make that more than feasible. It'd probably be great in UU. However, we even think that these changes would make Electivire OU viable at least to some extent. What do you think? What movesets can you come up with for this new and improved Pokemon? Leave a comment and let us know. And thanks for watching.